Hey, hello everyone. I hope you're all well and full of vim. We've got beautiful weather here today, so I can't do a lot in the garden at the moment, and until I've gone past this 6 weeks mark. But I can do a little bit of tidying, and I'm just also wandering around observing to see where I can be tidying up. But what I really want to talk to you about today is about a health regime, because I've been asked, how do I use herbs? Do I take them all the time? Do I take them some of the time? What is the protocol with herbal medicine? So I'm going to be talking about that. But before I do, I just want to say, I think there was a bit of confusion last week that people got the wrong end of the stick. Because when I was talking about the root vegetables, I didn't mean I was going to tincture the root vegetables as medicine. I meant you eat them as medicine. So you just eat your root vegetables. Boil them, mash them, steam them, roast them, whatever you want to do. And they're very good for you. They boost your immune system. They support the body at this time of year. So just like some of the spring herbs like cleavers and nettles are very cleansing and restorative after winter, the root vegetables prepare us for going into winter because they're full of starches and sugars, and they prepare the body for that time of darkness and hibernation. So I just wanted to clarify that. So for me, health is multifaceted. So I do my best to eat as well as I can. We grow a lot of our own vegetables, and then being outside in nature is so important, because apart from just being here listening to the birds and observing all the beauty of the flowers and the trees and the plants, we're also breathing in a lot of pheromones from those plants. And when we breathe in the pheromones, our cortisol levels go down. We start to feel more relaxed, more at peace, and then we sleep better, and we are just better in ourselves. And of course, when you're out and about, you're moving your body and you're getting a little bit of exercise. I really want to go mad cutting things back and getting tidy, but it's not really the best time, because it's the last opportunity for the pollinators to find food. So the bumblebees and the solitary bees and the hoverflies and all those other little creatures. So I don't want to get too tidy yet. So I'm just kind of snipping for my Virgoan self that sees, a branch that's out of, it's poking through. See, these little bushes still have some flowers on. The fuchsia bushes still have flowers on, and the bees absolutely love fuchsia. So I'm just really out here for the fresh air and to have a look around and to observe the change of season. And that being in nature is just so beneficial for our mental health. And this bit of exercise I'm getting out here now isn't really a huge amount of exercise, but I'm moving in the fresh air. And I do tend to sit a lot at work on the computer. So it's important to me to not just come and sit in the garden, but to be walking around and observing and communing with the plants, communing with the energy that's here and all the land spirits. And I know some people don't believe in all that, but I just think if you can accept Wi-Fi flooding through your house and your radio and your TV, how come you can't understand that there are other frequencies and energies, pervading through our environment? So I suppose in terms of your health, just being out and about in the garden, doing a little bit of work, stretching, bending, it's all good for your overall health. Obviously, I know that some people go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and they have these huge, intense workouts. And then they're sitting at a desk for the 8 hours of every other day. And I think, you know, it'd be better to get a bit more balance. Even if you just walked home instead of driving, if you walk down to the shops instead of driving, that would be better, I think, than spending all that time in the gym. Because going to the gym, you're really putting a lot of stress on your joints because it's just such intensive workouts. So I suppose it's about getting everything in balance and moderation. And if you think about our ancient ancestors, you know, they would have been nomadic, they would have just strolled along looking for food. Occasionally there would have been intense activity if they were on a hunt. But as my dad and my uncles would often say, more haste, less speed. You know, just take your time and keep going. And so movement, I think, is very important for your health, and especially if it's movement outside. I find it impossible to just sit still and meditate. My mind just runs off. So I prefer to go for a walk because the movement of my body when I'm walking, it's more easy to engage with the mind. So they're both working together in tandem. So I set an intention and I focus on the intention as I'm walking, and at the same time I try to stay in the moment. So I stay aware of what I can see, what I can hear, what I can smell, the feelings of the fresh air on my skin, and I'm seeing and sensing all the beauty around me as I focus my intention. So this kind of walking meditation works brilliantly for me, and I find it is not only relaxing but really it's reviving, it's reinvigorating. I feel refreshed and re-energized after it. And another thing I would like to mention is that lots of people are frightened of death. They have a fear of death and they put it out of their minds. They deny it will ever happen. And they think if they keep their head down, keep working, keep busy, it will never catch up with them. But of course it will. Everything comes to an end, dies and decays. It's the nature of our universe. But if we don't acknowledge that death is going to come at some point, we forget to look after our health. If you think of death in a more positive way, it's a reminder Death is a reminder to live a good life. And by taking care of our health, by eating well, exercising, thinking positively, and using natural products and medicines, we have a good quality of life, and that's what's important rather than the years. There's no point living to be 99 if 39 of those years you're in pain, you're on medications, you can't engage with life, you're suffering. There's no point. Whereas if you have a quality of life, that's what counts. So if you have a healthy, strong body and a positive mindset, you can make friends with death, and then each day will become the best day of your life. So I've never been one for the gym, and I'm not going to start going now. So I'm trying to, now I've had this kind of epiphany about my health, I am starting to do some exercises more regularly than I ever did before. And I've been doing them now for 2 weeks. So that's 14 days. And after 28 days, apparently, I'll have a new neural pathway. So I'll just carry on doing it. And it's a set of exercises from the Shaolin monks. And I'll put a link below to where I got this exercise set from. And basically you're exercising every joint in the body, and you start with your fingers and you wriggle them around for 18 times, and then you do your wrists backwards and forwards 18 times, then you do your elbows backwards and forwards, you do your shoulders where you're shrugging forward and shrugging back, then you do some spinning movements like this, you do 18 reps, then you do your head and neck, because we're working our way up from the fingers, and it's down and back, to the side and back, and then moving your head round. So you do that 18 times. Then we're doing the hips in each direction 18 times. And then we're doing the pelvic bone, so it's a much smaller rotation. Then we're doing the knees to the left, to the right, 18 times each. And then you do your ankles, out and in, or in and out, it doesn't matter which way, but you do each foot 18 times in both directions, and then wriggle your toes. So I've been doing that, and somebody in one of the comments said a good exercise for the kidneys is to do squats, but put your arms up as you're doing it. So I'm doing 18 squats now. I've moved from 10 to 18. So you see, I'm getting stronger already. And then I do press-ups against a door, you know, where I'm using my weight. And I can feel that improving my arms. And what else? Then I do a little bit of Qigong, which gets the body waking up in the morning. So you tap your collarbone, you tap down your arms, over the top of the arm, up on the inside of the arm. I do that a few times, and then I tap the kidneys at the back, go down the legs to the bottom of the foot, and then come back up the legs, and I do that a few times as well. And then I'm raring to go, and it really sets me up for the day. But I feel that I'm doing gentle movements, but my neck isn't stiff anymore, my shoulders aren't hunched up anymore, and so I've already felt a lot of benefit from it. And but now let's talk about medicine. The medicine that is here on the land. It's growing right here where I live, so it's got the same air, the same rainfall, the same sunshine that I get. So we're already, you know, getting in sync with one another. So I collect the plants, I infuse them in alcohol or apple cider vinegar, and I make tinctures, or I dry them to make teas. And I'll just show you the apothecary now and explain how these amazing medicines can be used. Come on, Jazz and Brock. I'm just getting a quick cup of herbal tea. So this is my apothecary. This side is all the herbs infusing in vodka, apple cider vinegar, or in olive oil ready to be made into a salve. That will all be strained off, and then it goes, the medicines, the tinctures go into these bottles. So here I have a selection of herbal remedies, medicines for myself and my family. I think it's important to take responsibility for our own health. So some of these herbs are just there to be taken for a short period of time, because we're not trying to suppress symptoms as allopathic medicine does. We are acknowledging those symptoms as a cry for help from the body or an indication that the body has gone out of balance. And so we use these medicines as and when they're needed to bring the body back into balance. So thyme tincture, for example, I have this ready for winter colds and flus because it's very powerful antimicrobial, antibacterial, and of course you can use it for other things as well. But in the context of using things long or short term, thyme would be a short term use. Something like hawthorn is long-term use because it's very, very safe and it's to maintain a level of health. So herbal medicine is there to bring the body back into homeostasis or balance. We don't suppress symptoms. We use it as and when needed. And then when the person is recovered, they don't need to take it any longer. So it's quite different to allopathic medicine. And that's it really. I've got more here drying for teas and other uses, such as this tansy will be going into flea collars for the dogs and into moth, you know, those little sachets you put into your drawers to stop moths. Hey. So that's my pathway to health. And I hope you found it helpful. It might have given you some ideas that you can try for yourself. And of course, if you want to learn how to make herbal medicine, my course, An Introduction to Herbal Medicine, is there. The details are below if you want to have a look at it, because we cover food and other protocols along with making the medicines as well. So I'm very excited because next week on the Substack, I'm going to be reviewing 2 wonderful books which are to do with health. And I've also got a lovely interview with Annie and Daisy from Caredwyn Cottage Diary. They're also on YouTube. And we've had a lovely long conversation about all kinds of things. So I hope you'll have a look at that as well. And in the meantime, wishing you all the best for your health and well-being until I see you next week. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website, danusirishherbgarden.com, for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the Weed Handbooks, and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.